is Suri Deitch, and I'm Dean of the School of Professional Advancement, and I'm excited to welcome you to this quick session about our graduate programs, our degrees and certificates, and our school overall. I'm joined by my colleague, Hope Anderson, and we are going to give you an overview of Tulane and SoPA and what we do, what we offer to students, and talk about our programs and faculty, and then get into the nitty-gritty of things like the admissions process and tuition. So thanks again for joining us. If you wouldn't mind, if you're able to, put your name and where you're calling in from and the program that you're interested in the chat box at the bottom of the screen. If you can do that, that's always good to know who we have in the session. And it's always nice to see folks if you're able to turn your cameras on, but we understand if you're not. People call in from all kinds of places when they're considering SoPA, and not everywhere can you turn your camera on. So again, I'm Suri Deitch, and I'm Dean of the school, and joined by Hope Anderson, and then our colleague Ann Conlon is behind the scenes running the slides. So just to start out, SoPA is one of 10 schools at Tulane University. Actually, the school goes almost back to the university's founding in 1834. So Tulane was founded as a medical college in order to fight tropical disease in the Gulf South region. The law school was the second school that started, and then one of our predecessors was actually the third. It was created as a school to help young white men who were not quite ready for med school or law school be ready to do that kind of academic work. So that was our first iteration. We started actually doing teacher training in the 1880s. I see there's some people on who are looking at pre-K-12 as an area. And we are so proud to be the 21st century iteration of a long-time commitment on the part of the university to supporting working adults and offering degrees and certificates that are relevant to the workplace. Thanks for joining us, Lindsay. You'll fit in well if you come to SoPA. I'll just say that. We are located on the Uptown campus of Tulane University in New Orleans. So most of our classes are actually offered online, but the ones that are offered on ground are typically at the Uptown campus. You can actually see inside our suite in the Richardson building, and a beautiful mural that our digital design undergraduate students did as part of our decor. And then the next slide, you can see an example of a SoPA diploma. So as the caption says, these are Tulane programs with Tulane faculty, and we offer a Tulane degree. So I'm monitoring the chat a little bit. We will be talking some about programs and faculty, although each of our individual program areas has a separate session where you can get more in depth with the advisors and faculty. But I will answer your question, Trent, just generally talking about our certificates. We'll talk some about our online learning experience, what it looks like, what it's like for students, talk about the ways in which we support students academically and career-wise, and then, like I said, finish up by talking in more concrete terms about tuition and admission cycles and all of that. So first, to talk some about our faculty. We have a mix of full-time and part-time faculty. On the screen in front of you, you can see two folks on the left who have really busy, demanding day jobs, but teach for SoPA a few times a year because they love the opportunity to share their knowledge and their networks with people who are advancing or coming into their fields. And then over on the right-hand side, you have two folks who are on our full-time faculty. So we have about 40 full-time faculty at the school and about 150 adjunct faculty or part-time faculty. In pretty much almost every single instance, even the full-time faculty worked in industry. That's certainly the case for Tyra Mitchell and Ralph Russo, who are on the screen. But I guess what I would say is, we have a faculty that is, to a very unusual extent, especially for a university like Tulane, focused on advancement, professional advancement, like our name says, for our students and alumni. And so what you're learning is drawn directly from the field. It reflects most current knowledge and needs in the workforce. We get that through our industry advisory boards, through our faculty who come in and are working in industry. And I would say, like, just to go back to, right, Lindsay, who is taking a break from work and dealing with children, our faculty and our staff are well aware of the ways in which our students have to balance school with a lot of other demands. And so we never compromise on the quality of the education that we offer, but we're flexible and we understand that that things come up in life. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. Here's another example of a faculty member. This is Amanda Fennell, who teaches in our information technology and cybersecurity programs. And, again, same idea, right? Folks who are practicing in the field and also want the opportunity to teach and share their knowledge and their networks. So we have two pathways at the graduate level, right? We have master's degrees and we have certificate programs. The next slide gives you a list of all of our master's degrees. Like I said, we have separate sessions where you can learn in more detail about those, but it's a range of degrees, Master of Science in science-based fields, Master of Professional Studies in our Emergency and Security Studies programs, a Master of Liberal Arts, Public Administration, and then two pre-K-12 degrees, or the Master of Arts in Teaching and the Masters of Education. Actually, the Masters of Education is the newest program. We just started it up this fall. And so a wide range of certificate program, a wide range of degree programs, all of which are, again, focused on direct industry knowledge, keeping you up to date and preparing you for advanced jobs in the field. The certificate programs, which are on the next slide, these are all what we call stackable, which means that the credits that you earn from a certificate can be applied toward a master's degree. There's one exception to that, which I'll note in a minute, but the idea is that the admissions standards, the admissions process for the certificate programs, which are, with one exception, all 4 courses, is the same as the process for the master's degrees. And so if you're in a master's degree and you take all the classes in a certificate, which forms a discrete body of knowledge in the field, you get the certificate and the degree. If you start out with a certificate program and you decide you want to continue on for the master's, again, all of the credits apply toward the master's degree. And the process of changing from one to the other is completely seamless. And so that's what we mean when we say stackable. On the next slide, we have this long list of our certificate programs in the different fields. I just want to call out one, which is Cyber Technology Fundamentals. All of them are 4 courses except for this one, which is 6. And this one leads into the Master of Science degrees in IT and cybersecurity. And it's really for people who want to move into management jobs in IT or cybersecurity and need like a more basic background in the technology itself. So that's the graduate certificates. The next slide. So we people are, even if they weren't before the pandemic, people are highly conversant with technology and doing things like interacting online and being on Zoom. For some of us, days and days on Zoom. We feel pretty good about the model that we've developed for online education. It is highly interactive. Every single week, there's some kind of interactive component. It might be that you're meeting with your classmates online and working on a project. You might have a guest speaker in a class. You might have a discussion board, but it's highly interactive. Again, all of the programs pull directly from real world knowledge and examples in order to help you be prepared as best as possible for going out into the field immediately or for being in the field right now and being able to apply your knowledge to what you're doing every day in your job. The research shows, and our experience backs it up, that online learning is a really excellent modality for most people. It has all different kinds of ways of presenting information. It's very structured. It's very clear what you are going to learn from every single course and from every single module or section of the course. And all of the assessments, like whether it's papers or presentations or once in a while a test, all of the assessments are directly bringing you to the knowledge base that our faculty have articulated as necessary for the field. And so it is also very transparent. And on top of that, because it's SoPA and it's Tulane, the classes are small. You get to know the faculty well. You develop relationships with students in your program, regardless of where you live. And, about 3/4 of our students live in the Gulf South region, but the rest live all around the United States and some overseas. And so there's like an intimacy and a level of connection that isn't always available with online programs. The next slide gives you a little bit more of a sense of the specific activities. So there's a faculty member who's really into the metaverse. So a picture of a virtual world, and then an example of a student who downloaded a podcast and is listening to it on the streetcar in New Orleans. So again, different ways of presenting information, lots of interactivity, and also an acknowledgement that that our students have busy lives and are balancing learning with other things going on. So that leads to this area of student support. And like I said earlier, this is about career advisement and academic advisement. We have an amazing core of highly experienced academic advisors and a career advisor who is available to work with you individually, if you're in the New Orleans region, to go with you to events, to help you prepare for an interview, to punch up your LinkedIn profile, to offer workshops where you can meet employers, all of that. And then the academic advisors are a tremendous resource for you in terms of figuring out what classes to take when, how many. I mean, we generally recommend that students take at least 2 classes at a time because it gets you on track for finishing your degree in a reasonable period of time. But students take anywhere from 1 to sometimes, 3 or sometimes 4 once in a while. Generally a pretty hard thing to do. If you're studying at the graduate level, it's a lot of work, but it is done. And I would also add that when you have a lot going on in your life, or when you live in a place like New Orleans, for example, you don't necessarily know when a challenge is going to come up that is going to make it harder to focus on and stay in school. And if that happens to you, your advisor is a huge resource. We are all about keeping our students on track for finishing their programs. And so, like I said earlier, we will do whatever we can to support you so that you can continue in your program and do your best academic work. And finally, this is all backed up by the Tulane name and the Tulane network, and you become part of that network personally and professionally for the rest of your life. And so there are tremendous assets that come with being a part of the Tulane community. All right, the last slide I'm going to talk about is what we call credit for prior learning. And basically this means that we have various ways in which students can earn credit toward a master's degree for prior experience. In some cases, we have arrangements with professional associations or organizations like the National Guard, where you can actually get credit towards some of the coursework in the master's degree for having completed certain training. We also have what we call portfolio assessment, which means that faculty can work with you to map your experiences onto specific coursework in the degree program. Like I said, the courses are all highly structured and it's really clear what the learning objectives are. And if you have already learned those things, you don't have to take the course because you know it. We'll work with you to document your experience, and then we will have a faculty member grade the portfolio, and you can get up to 2 classes toward the master's degree. The master's degrees, I should say, are between 30 and 36 credits. So 6 credits or 2 courses is pretty significant. So that's credit for prior learning. And with that, I will hand things off to Hope to continue.
Hello, I am Hope, the admissions counselor and a SoPA alum. So today I want to share with you some information that can that can help make Tulane's SoPA's degree affordable. So as you note on the screen, the cost per credit is our tuition. But I also wanted to mention that we have 10 plus discount scholarships, federal aid, and additional inside SoPA scholarships for those that qualify. As Dean Deitch mentioned, the prior credit for learning, where you earn up to 6 credits, those are all multiple ways where you can offset that tuition cost. And I'll speak more about the credit for prior learning in later. But on the next slide, the application process. I wanted to say that it's important you complete the application submitted, even if you're missing material, if you haven't paid the application fee. And if you know, if you're attending this webinar today, your application fee will be waived. But if you have not submitted your information, still submit. I'm sorry, if you have not submitted or uploaded all of your materials, still submit your application. Once the deadline passed and it's beyond the point where you can actually go in and, add additional information, that's harder. Whereas if you submit now, and then we can go back, and if there's questions or any hiccups that happen, we can go back and address that before the beginning of the semester. The application fee is waived. You will upload a government issued ID that can consist of a driver license, passport, or a state ID. And transcripts must be sent electronically from the institution or mailed in a sealed envelope. I will say we will accept, for the sake of an applicant receiving an admission decision, unofficial transcript. Once you receive your decision, we would require you to have them sent directly from the institution that you attend to SoPA, and that's every institution you have attend. Some applicants say, well, I attended school, I applied and got admitted, but I didn't attend. And generally what we do is ask that you submit to us a letter of non-attendance from that school's registrar's office. The graduate application does require a writing sample. Within the application, you'll find the instructions or the specifics of what that topic would be or that format. You will need to upload your resume. And as the screen said, we do not require the GRE. Throughout this entire process, if you have questions or you have concerns, you can always reach out to me, and we can talk about whatever the issue is, or I can always direct you to the director if I can't help. So as I mentioned, the different methods of offsetting your tuition costs, the early enrollment is one. Early enrollment, if you enrolled by, let's say the spring semester is approaching, if you enroll by December 1st, then you would receive a $500 graduate scholarship. And that's if you enroll every semester that you attend, that you're eligible for that that scholarship. Transfer scholarships, for the first 3 consecutive semesters that you transfer, you are eligible for a scholarship as well. So if you fit one of those populations, retired military, active military, a public first responder, or in education, or if you attend a minority servant institute, then that would be an addition 20% scholarship. So there are multiple ways that you can offset that the tuition costs. We also have some in-house, I would like to say, scholarships that I think I want to make sure, but I think they were like donated funds from some alumni that you can also be eligible for. And that is an additional way to offset that tuition cost. For those that are inquiring about the Masters of Education or the Masters of Art, as Dean Deitch said, there are specific webinars that speak to those. But if you would like to speak with someone at Teacher Prep regarding the specifics or what makes you eligible for the SEED grant, you can also reach out and I'll put you in contact with the person you need to speak with.
Great, thanks, Hope. Right, just to add to that, we currently have a federal grant that is allowing us to prepare teachers for working in New Orleans, and that's through the Master of Arts in Teaching. And so people who are interested in being teachers in New Orleans and want to earn a master's degree, we can actually waive your tuition. So that's a really nice opportunity that we have for 3 years with federal funding. So thanks, Hope, and thanks again for joining us for this session. We'll stay on for another minute. Feel free to put questions into the chat. If you have any additional questions, you see a screen in front of you that has the name of our colleague Sheila Gold, who is Director of Recruitment and Admissions. And you are going to receive a follow-up email from her tomorrow that is going to have a link to this recorded session if you want to come back and listen to it again. But it's also going to give you her contact information. And we always say that, we consider the admissions process our first opportunity to get to know you. And so Hope and I and Sheila are all available during this process to answer more questions, to make connections with you, with faculty and staff in the specific program areas. And, we really, yes, you would qualify for the public safety discount. Yes, Madeline. We're very student-centered. If it's not obvious, we are a small school where there's a lot of interaction. The fact that I'm the dean of the school and I'm on this webinar and presenting is just one way in which we show how much we care about students and your success. And we are so excited that you're considering our school and look forward to getting to know you. So thanks again for joining us, and we hope you have a great rest of your day. And Blake will follow up with you separately. All right, thanks everyone for joining the session. We really appreciate it, and we will be in touch.